Good morning and welcome to Unity of Kanawha Valley. Chico welcomes you as well. We will begin our service with the ringing of the bell and the lighting of the Christ candle. So we ring this bell and we light this candle as a reminder of the Christ light that shines in each and every one of us. So if you would, repeat with me our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. Consider the truth of that for just a moment. Allow it to anchor into your heart. And then repeat it with me once more. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. Our songs this morning are provided for us by Jim and John. Jeff and John.
In this place, surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel her mighty power and her grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Turn to the handout that you have. At the top it says music for January 9th. That is to really confuse you. What is today? Who knows? This first song is a new song. I was inspired. Sky often, when he introduces himself, he says, the Christ in me meets the Christ in you. So I started looking through the hymnal for text that would refer to that. So I pulled out different lines. And so this is a new song. I want to teach it to you. We're going to play it through, kind of get the melody. To try it once. I behold the Christ in you. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. Here the life of God I see. is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings, and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my mother's world. The birds their carols raise, the morning light, the lily white declare their Maker's praise. This is my Creator's world. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas, God's hand, the wonders wrought. This is a loving world. Oh, let me never forget that though the wrong seems off so strong, God is good yet. That though the wrong seems off so strong, God is good yet. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the drums begin to bang, oh, when the drums begin to bang, oh, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the trumpet sounds the call, oh, when the trumpet sounds the call, oh, I want to be in that number. When the trumpet sounds the call, oh, when the sun begins to shine, oh, when the sun begins to shine, oh, I want to be in that number. When the sun begins to shine, Jeff. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in.
Wow, that'll get us going this morning. Thank you, Jim and Jeff. I think Jack Kennedy is floating around somewhere laughing at me for wanting to call them Jack this morning. Oh, goodness. Well, welcome to Unity of Kanawha Valley, whether you're here on Zoom or here in person. We love the fact that you are sharing your energy with us this morning. It makes us whole and allows us to light up the world. So for announcements today, we are collecting luggage and backpacks for the Davis Children's Center. Dewey Lester picks them up here at the church, takes them to the shelter. So just call Pam and arrange a time when you can drop those here, and we will get those to the kids that need them. The Sojourner Shelter is requesting paper products for the month of January. Here again, you can drop them off here at the church. There's a barrel at the bottom of the stairs here in the activity room, or just call Pam and arrange a time when you can drop those off here and we get those to the shelter. We are a tithing church. For the month of January, we are tithing to Unity Worldwide Ministries. That is the organization that puts out the Daily Word and all the booklets that we have here available for you. And so we really feel like we are supporting giving back to our source when we tie to Unity Worldwide. And if you are on Zoom and would like to support our ministry, you can go to www.unitywv.com. That's our website. Or you can go to our Facebook page, Unity of Kanawha Valley, and make a donation there. You can send a check to the church. But we do really, really appreciate all the support of everyone who benefits from this ministry. So I think that's all the announcements I have for today. I will turn it over to Sky.
All right, thank you so much, Janet. Welcome, good morning. Great to see you all. My name is Sky Kirshner. The light in me greets the light in you. Welcome, shalom, namaste, and aloha. I want to thank you for being with us here at Unity of Kanawha Valley, whether you're here with us live or whether you're here with us online. My apologies to folks who are online. We tried to get the words up so that you could catch that great song from Jim. Jim, thank you so much. That song was awesome. Let's hear again for that song. And we will find a way for our I think we got 16 or so folks online with us today so that you all can join in that song. By the way, thank you for being with us wherever you are, whether you're here or at Kroger's or on the golf course sledding on the golf course today. Wherever you are is fine, and it's good to be alive. Speaking of being alive, the Omicron virus is still tearing through our community. It started to go down, but now it's going up again. So please continue to be careful wherever you are. We will have a discussion group immediately after the service. We're going to put it up silently on the screen up here after the service so you can see at least there is usually a very vibrant discussion that's going on. If you'd like to join Annette and I in the back, it will be in the Sunday school room, and you can join in the conversation with the audio there. The mission of Unity of Kanawha Valley is to provide you with a welcoming community of love, acceptance, and spiritual support. We celebrate our unity in being alive together, and we affirm our diversity, that each and every one of us is on our own unique journey. It's my hope that you'll know that you're welcome while you're here, just as you are, and that you feel free to be yourself, and that you feel free to explore some ideas that might be useful in your life. Today we will be talking about the idea of praying for others, praying for others. If you want to know more about Unity, check us out online at unitywv.org. Thank you. It's .com, unitywv.com. If you've been attending for a while, whether on Zoom or live, and you'd like to consider becoming a member, please let me know. And finally, if you need help, please let us know. Today, I want to lift up Gary and Diddy Markham, Frank and Lorene Navio, Patricia Richmond, John Beck, Lisa Beck, Jeannie Chandler, Beth Sadis, Kate and Justin, and Chris Ross. Prayer is a central part of what we're about here. So let's do that right now, and let's practice for just a moment praying for others. So the way I'm going to encourage you to do that is to just close your eyes and lift them up in your mind's eye. Just lift that person up, seeing them surrounded by light and by love. That's all you have to do. There's no secret to it. There's no magic. You just lift them up, see them surrounded by light and by love. If you want, you could include in that circle of light yourself, and you could include in that circle of light someone who's important to you, whether you're separated from them by distance, whether you're separated from them by ideology or belief or hurt feelings, whether you're separated from them by life or by death. Imagine that you are sitting or standing in front of that person. Imagine that you are touching or holding in some way. Imagine you are looking at each other in the eye and say to that person, "Thank you for being with me on this journey. Thank you for being with me on this journey." Surrounded by light, surrounded by love, grateful to be together on this journey. And if you would like, give yourself a nice big stretch, a nice big yawn. And if you feel comfortable, reach out to somebody nearby and say to them, "Thank you for being with me on this journey." Or hit them if you want to. Whatever contact feels just right for you today. I want to thank each of you for being here today, for being with us together on this journey. Your being here is part of the world that we're creating today, and I want to remind you that every small thing you do makes a difference in your life and in the life of others. I want to thank the universe, God, the source of all life and love, for another day on this amazing journey. I want to thank Violet, who is reminding us how good it is to be alive. I want to thank everyone who's made this service possible, for Stephen and our board of directors, Barbie, Rich, Peggy, Laura, David, and Sally, for Pam, our maestra of administration and unification. I forget who told me that. Somebody told me that. For Jim Snyder, what's that? Doug and Brogno, yes. For Jim Snyder and for Jeff Hott, our masked marauders of music today. For Janet, our worship leader, with a smile, even though her Titans lost yesterday. I know, but see, this is the way it works. We remember the pain of the world, then we go back to our hearts. Then we remember the pain of the world, then we go back to our hearts. But your smile is gorgeous and beaming today, Janet. Thank you for that. For Ernie and our Zoomers, Ernie Kessel is our hostess with the mostest on Zoom. For Rich and Janny, our Zoom meisters. For our amazing prayer chaplains, Sharon, Janet, Marianne, Laura, and Alexa. And Janet will be our prayer chaplain for today. For Sally Snyder, who's not here today, so us kids were on our own. And for Marianne, our daily word reader today, and our junior bell ringer today, Stephen Keith, thank you for ringing our bell. I want to thank each and every one of you for being connected with Unity of Kanawha Valley in whatever way you are. I continue to lift up every member, friend, guest every day, and I'm so grateful for the chance to walk with you on our journey together. And I want to remind you that God is our source. The pen is in your hand, and a new day is dawning for us all. So let us spend some time in a more extended period of prayer, by which I mean bringing our attention to the beauty of this present moment. If you're not sure if this present moment is beautiful, just hang out in it and see. So you may begin by noticing the sounds in the room, the heating system and the air handlers, the sound of adjusting, the creaking of the pews and the floor, shifting and adjusting in our bodies. You might notice the experience of being in a body and of having a body. The point of contact between your body and the floor, your body and the bench or the pew or the chair. Noticing the pressure, noticing the support freely given from the floor. You might let your eyebrows relax. Let your stomach soften. You might raise your eyebrows, notice your forehead. Notice the way you hold yourself. And you might notice your breathing. This breathing, this breath that we all have in common. We share this experience of our bodies and of the world for as long as we have life within us. You might notice your sense of comfort in the breath. Whether you're feeling tight and anxious and can only breathe in shallow ways, whether you can let your torso relax, feel the goodness of a deep breath. Jesus said, "Seek ye the kingdom." The kingdom is among you. It is in your midst. It is at hand. It is within. And so we consider this practice as we go within, curious about this teaching. And so we wander within the spaciousness within each of our hearts, within each of our minds, within our bodies. Many of us know this to be an expansive place, a place of all abundance and sufficiency, a place where we can know that all is well, that we are well, that this world is perfect just the way it is, and that our desire is to align ourselves with the perfection of this moment. We know this to be a place of healing and cure, as well as a place of acceptance. Where we hope for the best, we see the best, and we trust that however it unfolds, it is the best. This is a place of relationship, of connection, of attraction, of friendship, of love, as well as a place of repair, repentance, forgiveness, and reconciliation. A place where mountains may be moved, a place where barriers may dissolve, a place where hardened hearts are inexplicably softened. And this is a place of guidance, a place that is continuously reaching out to us, communicating to us, broadcasting its message to us in small and subtle and sometimes obvious ways. And it's from this place of intention and wisdom and intelligence that we now reach out to anyone, anywhere, in any need or trouble. Those living in pain, those living in fear, those anxious about the past or the future, those who are grieving. We reach out to you in our mind's eye. We see you lifted up in light and in love. We know that God's presence is spread out equally throughout this universe without exception. And we know that the consciousness of God's presence is always possible, regardless of the circumstance. And for this, we are grateful.
Good morning. The words for today are pray for others. And the affirmation is, I am praying for you. Just hearing the words, I am praying for you, helps me relax into the calm strength of a trusted friend's faith. Reassured, I feel my own faith growing stronger. My friend may be next to me or calling from far away. The power of prayer is undiminished by distance. Grateful for the gift of others' prayers for me, I welcome every opportunity to pray for anyone who asks. Having heard the prayer need, I'll let go of concern. In faith, I behold the Christ presence within the one for whom I pray. Knowing the truth of another's wholeness, I release any thought of illness. I affirm divine wisdom guiding important decisions and divine strength, relieving any weakness. I feel the warmth of God's love, bringing peace and restoring hope to those I hold in prayer. And from 1 Thessalonians 1:2, we always give thanks to God for all of you and mention you in our prayers.
Channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. Where there is doubt, true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, only light. Where there is sadness, ever joy. Oh, Master, grant that I may never seek so much to be consoled as to console. To be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Master, grant that I may never seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. Where there is doubt, true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Make me a channel of your peace.
Oh, that was beautiful. Kate and Phil, this would be the kids' time, but what would you like to do? We could just to keep going, or do you want to just keep going? Okay, all right. Well, Thich Nhat Hanh made his transition this week in Vietnam. I know I was noticing that on Facebook, people were putting all these Thich Nhat Hanh quotes up, and I thought, well, that's an interesting thing. And then was it Janet or Mary? Somebody, Barbie, mentioned to me that he had passed this week. And so I have a silly joke that he might have appreciated. I have no idea whether he'd appreciate this joke or not. These are sayings from a Jewish Buddha, Thich Nhat Hanh. I know people here in Charleston who went to visit him at his retreat center in France called Plum Village, and the highlight of those visits was to drink tea in his presence and with him. And so this saying from a Jewish Buddha, drink tea and nourish life. With the first sip, joy. The second sip, satisfaction. The third sip, peace. And with the fourth sip, a Danish. So put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. This is my heart. Through it, I am connected. My neighbor, to my source, and to myself. I am learning to trust it in all things. And I am grateful. I want to bring our Zoomers up just so I can see them more easily. There's a saying I got from going to 12-step meetings that has a lot of unity resonance. And the saying is, you can't talk yourself out of a problem you behaved yourself into. You can't talk yourself out of a problem that you behaved yourself into. Can I get a unity amen on that? Right? Everybody recognizes the truth of this. If I borrow somebody's car and I have a fender bender, it's not enough for me to say, oh, sorry, right? I need to do some actions to make that right, to restore the car to its original state, to restore the relationship. I can't simply talk myself out of a behavior or of a problem that I behaved myself into. I think the same is true with prayer. And I notice this stinginess in my heart when sometimes people, as we do, are concerned about something and they ask me to pray for this situation. And the stinginess of my heart says something like, well, how did you get into that situation in the first place? Right? So it's like, my father smoking Lucky Strike Unfiltereds, 2 packs a day for 30 years, and then gets lung cancer. Go figure. And then my stepmother says, pray that God will heal him. And I'm kind of like, well, I don't, is that fair? Is that the way it's supposed to work? We get ourselves into these jams, and then we pray to God to get us out of the jams that we got ourselves into. I'm calling that the stinginess of my heart. There is a strong tradition in Western thinking that says the cavalry will come and save us from whatever situation we got ourselves into. In Greek theater, we have this idea of the Deus Ex Machina, which means the God who comes in the machine. And the reason it's called this, it's because on the stage or off the stage would be somebody who was going to play the part of God, and they were connected to a lever, and the lever would fly them in whenever the hero needed some extra help. And so even today in Christian theology, we have this idea of Deus Ex Machina, which means God will save you from whatever jam you got yourself into. Now, I was thinking about this partially because in the discussion group last week, that happens after church every Sunday, we started talking, or 2 weeks, no, it was last week, we were talking about, and Mary Beth Beller used the example in her wonderful talk last week about what it's like when somebody asks her for money. And I notice within myself that same little stinginess of heart kind of starts to tighten up. And I want to think, well, what are you going to do with this money if I give it to you? And how did you get in a position of wanting this money anyway, right? And the stinginess of heart just wants to say, no, I'm not giving you that dollar. I'm not giving you that prayer because you got yourself into this situation. Am I alone in this thinking? Thank you very much. The only time I gave a guy $1 and I felt completely clear about it was when I was in New York City. I lived in New York City for 6 years. I was walking through Greenwich Village, and there was a guy there panhandling on the street, on the sidewalk, and he said, "Somebody give me $1 so I can stay drunk." And I thought, that guy has integrity. And I gave him $1 because he was honest, and I believed he was going to do with that $1 what he said he was going to do with it. Whereas most people, when they tell you what they're going to do with the $1 or $5, that stinginess gets very suspicious. All right, now here's the rub. In unity, the way the Unity authors talk about prayer, the purpose of prayer, get this, is not to change God. You may notice here in Unity, we do not ask God for anything, because in Unity, the purpose of prayer is to not get God to do something that God isn't already doing, that we / our egos want God to do. The purpose of prayer is not to change God. The purpose of prayer is to change the person who's praying. The purpose of prayer is to lift up our attention, our consciousness, to a different vibration, to a different way of looking at the situation, a different way of looking at the world. Not to change God, but to change ourselves, to increase our conscious contact with the higher power. For those of you who are connected with 12 steps, that's the 11th step. I practice conscious contact with my higher power. That is the purpose of prayer in Unity. Now, I want to shout out to Mary Louise King, who's here in the back wearing her beautiful red. Mary Louise gave me this beautiful book. In fact, she has a box of them. She has become such a fan of this book called Whole Brain Living by Jill Bolte Taylor. Some of you will know who Jill Bolte Taylor is because she's the woman, the Harvard faculty neurologist, brain scientist, who had the stroke and talked about her stroke on a TED Talk. It was one of the first TED Talks before TED Talks became popular. She's the reason that TED Talks became popular. She had this stroke at the age of 37, I think it was. And she was awake when it happened. It didn't happen in her sleep. And she knew what was happening as it was happening. She is somebody who mapped all the different parts of the brain, and she knows them by name, like these long, long, long names. And she watched, the stroke happened in the left part of her brain, and she sat there paralyzed in her body as she experienced different parts of the left part of her brain switching off and switching off and switching off. When you have a stroke, you have a brain bleed, and that brain bleed causes pressure. And as the brain parts feel the pressure, they don't function as well anymore. And within 4 hours, all the different parts of the left side of her brain became incapacitated. And do you know what she was left with? She was left with the right half of her brain. And do you know what the experience of the right half of your brain is when you're connecting with it? It's one of peace and bliss and joy. It's one of peace. It's the peace that is beyond understanding, because the left brain is the one that's interested in reason and logic and understanding, and the right side of your brain is interested in the present moment. It's not judging, it's not evaluating, it's not thinking about what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. It's not problem solving. The right part of your brain is simply being, and is this state of contentment and bliss and a sense that all is right with the world. We had a board meeting, a board retreat yesterday, and Stephen asked a beautiful question: why do we come to Unity? And now that I'm reading this book, I said, well, now I know why I'm coming to Unity. Because I want to make that switch from being in the left side of my brain into the right side of my brain. And when I'm here with you and we sit in the present moment, right? Our meditation is a meditation of the present moment. What better invitation to be in the right side of your brain? And then we listen to amazing music. And even if it wasn't amazing music, when I'm in the right side of my brain, it doesn't matter, because it's all good. You guys could be hitting any note, you could be doing any song, and I would be perfectly fine with it because I'm in that place. Can I get a head nod from that, right? You know what I'm talking about? That's why I keep coming. It's so easy to slip back into the judgmental, evaluative left side of my brain. This is an amazing book, Whole Brain Living. I'm going to put it up there for Danny to see. Great book, Jill Bolte-Taylor. I'm sure I'm going to be talking more about it. Prayer that is coming from the left side of your brain, and my brain, is anxious, problem-solving, evaluative prayer. It's seeing a problem in the future or something in the past that we're upset about. It's asking God to do something about it, to solve that problem. Right? And I can remember being with folks who were asking God to solve a problem, and I wasn't sure the solution they were coming up with was going to be the best solution. But, you know, I mean, do we really want to keep my 105-year-old grandmother alive even though she's in pain? Because you don't want her, because you, daughter or son, don't want her to die? Is that really the best thing? Right? I mean, we see these situations where our problem-solving ego makes insistences to the universe or to God or to the doctors. But what's it like to pray out of the right side of your brain? To pray out of the right side of your brain is simply to not try to problem solve. To simply see that person surrounded by light and by love, and to trust that whatever the universe is bringing, however the intelligence and wisdom of the universe is circling around that person, it's going to be okay. Because there is only one presence, there is only one power in the universe, God the good. So when I do this, when I lift someone up in a non-problem solving prayer, I see them, and if you got the email or I see them surrounded by the northern lights. I lift them up into the sky, and I imagine the northern lights just kind of swirling in slow motion around them. Or if you remember the movie Brother Bear, the Disney movie, this quadruple helix of light comes down and surrounds these guys, and they get lifted up into this kind of slow motion vortex of light. And that's all there is to it. It's just holding someone in the light, holding them in your right brain rather than trying to do problem solving from your left brain, or trying to suggest that you know better than God how to solve whatever problem is going out. So I want to recommend this to you. I remember my first year or two being very confused about what people meant by holding somebody in the light, because I thought there must be something more to it than that. But no, actually, that's all there is to it. Just holding someone in the light without evaluation or judgment. And so those of us who are practicing unity principles, for example, abundance, somebody asks us for money, we give them money. And it's not our business what they're going to do with it, right? We don't give them money out of a problem-solving thing. We give them money because they asked and because we're practicing generosity. What that person does with that money is between them and God. Now, if you think that's a little crazy, yeah, from the left brain's point of view, yeah, that's a little crazy, because the left brain is worried about what's crazy and what's not. The right brain doesn't give a fig whether it's crazy or not. Those of us who are in 12 steps understand that it took me every drink to get to be sober. If somebody had tried to prevent that last drink, I might not be sober today, right? And so there's a mystery here, right? What's that person going to do? Well, it's none of my business what they're going to do with that dollar or with that $5. We give trusting that the universe is an intelligent place with wisdom. And so in the same way, when someone asks me to pray, I try to move into my right brain, and I lift up that situation, and I trust that light and love is entering into that place and surrounding those people. And I have no idea how it's going to work out, and I don't need to know. This is why when we do our longer meditation, you might notice we always start with a few minutes of fun and gratitude, ending with applauding for the person who rang the bell. And then we move into the present. So we start with gratitude. We move into the present moment. We hang out in the present moment for a while. And it's only then that we bring to our minds the folks that are in distress. Why do we wait until that moment in the prayer to bring to our minds people who are in distress? Because if we start with people who are in distress, we're going to get anxious. And our anxious mind is going to want to start to go into all sorts of problem solving. But if we can chill ourselves out enough in the present moment to be more in our right brain, our unity brain, we'll have the opportunity to lift them up without feeling anxious for them. That's what I think anyway. I constructed that part of it, so that's why it's constructed that way. I hope it works well for you. I just want to go back to the daily word that Mary Ann read for today, because this thinking is embedded in the daily word for today. The first paragraph is from the point of view of hearing that someone is praying for you. Just hearing the words, "I am praying for you," helps me to relax into the calm strength of a trusted friend's faith. Reassured by knowing that they're praying for me, by knowing that they're lifting me up, I feel my own faith growing stronger. My friend may be next to me or calling from far away, or even if we imagine part of our cheering section from beyond the grave, the power of prayer is undiminished by time or distance. Grateful for the gift of others praying for me, I welcome every opportunity to pray for anyone who asks, right? Loosening my heart from my heart's stinginess to pray for anyone who asks. Having heard the prayer need, I let go of concern. I let go of problem solving in my head. And in faith, I behold the Christ presence within the one for whom I pray. Knowing the truth of the other's wholeness, I release any thought of illness or problem. I affirm divine wisdom, that the divinity, the intelligence of the universe is working itself out, guiding important decisions, divine strength, relieving any weakness. I feel the warmth of God's love bringing peace and restoring hope to those I hold in prayer. Well, I hope this was an interesting and useful thought for you today. If you'd like to join with the discussion group, we'll be meeting after the service in the Sunday school room. Thank you so much for letting me be here today, and let's hear another amazing song while we do our offering.
The ushers would come forward, please. Barbie? Uh-oh, there's one here in the aisle. You'll find your offering blessing on the inside of your bulletin. Together, divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, I trust God, and I am grateful.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you. Just wait and see. Another day goes by, still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're feeling down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You while you're at it, go ahead and put a whole lot of love in your heart.
Oh, thank you, Jim and Jeff. Get it right?
Jeff.
Jeff?
Jim.
Gotcha. J and J, yep. So we give thanks for these gifts and offerings, and for the gifts and offerings of the talented people in this room, the generous people in this room, the loving people in this room and on Zoom. For we all come together and raise each other up, and this creates a more peaceful, loving world. And for that, we are so grateful. So we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. So if you'd like to make a circle, we are going to try to keep a distance, so maybe hold your hands out, but circle the whole room. And that way we can do our peace song. I know Kim Ramsey has a birthday coming up. Any other birthdays or anniversaries or... Danny, birthday. Happy. You're older than Sandy, okay. So we're going to sing happy birthday to Danny and Kim.